What is up, you beautiful people out there on the internet? It is I, Michael Shockman, here with our next episode of Arthurian D&D Explained. In today's episode, we will be covering the classes of D&D and the restrictions therein. I will basically be going over some of the understood various things that I've gotten in the comments, and then going over what I do in my games, and we will be getting into it post haste. So yeah, buckle up and let's go. Um, so in the comments and what I've been able to find online, basically it essentially shows that various, depending on how you want to do your game in Arthurian stuff, whether you want to do it as it varies depending on if you want to be able to play it as like a set piece kind of pulpy kind of thing where you're automatically starting as like knights and big people and everything like that, whereas if you want to play it more like a story based saga-esque thing. So what I mean by that is, if you want to play it in kind of the pulpy fashion where you basically are already starting as knights, the simple way of putting it is that Knights of the Holy Grail are paladins, Knights of the Round Table are fighters and clerics, wardens and followers of the old ways are druids and rangers. What do you call it? Evildoers and Fell Pact users are warlocks. Monks don't exist, basically, flat out. And heathens and Norse users are barbarians and, to a lesser extent, sometimes sorcerers. But in addition to heathens, sorcerers can also fall into the category of sorcerers, as well as wizards, and bards can fall into the category of wizard folk or arcane folk. And then last but not least, you have those of guile, which are essentially rogues. I think I covered all the classes. I think I did. Yeah. So to review on that, Knights of the Holy Grail, paladins. Knights of the Round Table, clerics and fighters. Heathens are barbarians. Followers of the old ways are druids and rangers. So that's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. And then the Fell users are warlocks, so that's 7. And then monks don't come in. And then we have, because there's 12 classes total, not including the artificers. So what am I forgetting? Leave it down in the comments what I'm forgetting there, and ask questions therein, and I'll try and answer them. And then last but not least, we have arcane users, which are sorcerers, wizards, and bards. So that comes to a total of 10 classes. Now, those are the 10 classes as some people see them. Now, the way that I do them, specifically going back to the various type of paradigm that you want to run your game in, this version that I just mentioned was pulpy. I run mine in more of a story-based saga aspect of things, and I make it so that you start off at a low level. You don't have any special stuff. You start off basically as a peasant, essentially, and you progress as time goes on, and there's a big story for everything and all that stuff. So, my rules for choosing classes are: you don't all main casters, like full casters, are out. That's kind of in keeping with a slightly more low magic type of thing. Not quite totally to low magic, but more low magic than normal. All full casters, wizards, sorcerers, everything are out. Um, Clerics, to a lesser extent, to a certain extent, are out. Um, I do allow, but half casters and quarter casters are fine. Uh, Half casters being rangers and paladins, they're fine, and quarter casters being those of uh, um, subclasses like Eldritch Knight or Arcane Trickster or things of that nature, and whatnot. Um, so the way I do it is generally if as kind of a well, I'll get into that in a minute. Um, the main classes that I encourage my players to take are fighter, paladin, ranger, rogue, and to a lesser extent, warlock. Because those are basically the ones that are the least magically oriented. With that being said, paladin and ranger are also good classes to choose because they offer a varied mixed they offer a mixed bag of abilities and spells, and their spell power and level is limited. um, with that being said, I generally limit my characters, and I'll go more into this later in a future video, but I generally limit my characters to 3rd level spells and 5th level spell slots, and that's it. I'm slowly kind of trying to rework that to see if maybe maybe it's okay to do up to 5th level spells and 5th level spell slots. But that was the 3rd level spells and 5th level spell slots was my initial attempt at doing it. Though I think that might be, now that I realize it might be a little bit underpowered, even for this. So I'll give more information on that as time progresses. As kind of a parting last little note on that, um, I I have this interesting mechanic where if anybody ever picks as their race specifically, and I'll go more into this later. If anybody ever picks a variant human as their race, I always I do not let them choose the uh, the feat that they get to take with that race. They always get Magic Initiate. Now the question is, they get to choose what class of Magic Initiate they take. And they get to choose the spells, obviously, and everything like that. But the logic behind that is that variant human in my rendition of this Arthurian world, and these Arthurian worlds, are basically Fey-blooded, or not quite Azamar, but close, like Celestial blooded, or Fell-blooded, or something like that. Generally, though, in my campaigns, it's usually Fey-blooded, so they have some type of magical affinity that comes from their heritage. So, yeah. That is basically my rundown on classes, with a little tiny dive and foray into races, though next week we will be diving entirely into races, so stay tuned for that. Thank you so much, guys. Hope you have enjoyed. If you have, and you haven't already, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Also, be sure to ring the bell icon if you never want to miss out whenever our videos go live on YouTube. Last but not least, check out the links down in the description. You know what they do, you know where they go, you know what to do. I'm Michael Shockman, folks. I've been your host and commentator, and until next time, remember, as always, keep it real, keep it safe, keep it healthy, and we'll see you guys again soon in Albion. Later, everybody.